inside that nation would have the audacity to put his name on the ballot to be the governor of this state. But guess what, folks? It is not working. Our polling is showing that we're rising in the polls. The exit polling from early voting yesterday has them shaking in their shoes. Go to the polls and they're going to vote for the right policies and the right people that are going to champion those policies, folks. Amen. Because that's what this race is about. I have an opponent who's supposed to be the top cop of this state. Unfortunately, he has done zero to protect you. That's why he does not want to talk about the issues or the main thing that we should always be thinking about in elections, which is policies. Policies, not personalities, not politics, not mudslinging. Policies. Which policies work and which policies don't. That's right. And it's easy in this state to look at that and see it. Prior to 2010, when Josh Stein and his leftist buddies had the governor's mansion, the House, and the Senate, guess what you had? You had a state that was deeply in debt to the federal government, about $6 billion at its worst. We were furloughing state workers because we couldn't afford to pay them. And teachers didn't get a raise for 6 years. All because they were passing bad policies. They were making this state dead broke. They were making it difficult for you to do business here. It was making it so folks didn't want to come here to do business. Well, guess what? Conservatives took over in 2010, took over the legislature. 14 years later, where are we at because of their great policies? We now, instead of being in debt to the federal government, we have a $5 billion surplus, folks. And you think about how that's going to serve the people of Western North Carolina. Imagine what it would be like if we were still owing the federal government all those millions. We're the #2 business destination this year. We were #1 2 years running. And I guarantee you, if you get a Republican governor in office, we'll be #1 again. That we see at the federal level, the inflation and the supply chain issues, small business violence in this state are at an all-time high, and businesses can't wait to get to North Carolina to do business, folks. We have a great opportunity in this state. But in order to keep it going, we need somebody at the helm as governor who's going to understand that, #1, they're going to need to work with that legislature that has done that work over the last 14 years. And is going to have you in mind as they take that seat, not themselves in mind when they take that seat. Folks, our campaign, our platform is simple. What are we all about? We're all about our what? Economy. Our economy, that's it. Now that sounds like one issue, right? But it's not. Our economy, folks, it's a single issue, but it's not a singular issue. Why? Because our economy is built on 5 pillars. What are they? They are the pillars of public safety, public education, health care, infrastructure, and housing. Why is that important when you're picking a governor? Because guess what? It is the governor who appoints the person over the Department of Public Safety. It's the governor who appoints the people to the state school board. Yes. It's the governor who appoints the people, the person, to the Department of Health and Human Services. And it's the governor who appoints the people to DOT and DEQ, agencies to a large extent that determine the success of our infrastructure and our housing industry. The governor plays a unique role in this state of making sure that our economy is healthy by making sure that our state agencies are healthy and that they're run the correct way. And that the folks inside those agencies understand that they don't work for the state of North Carolina, they work for the people of North Carolina. You need a governor who's going to push to make those agencies more efficient. Think about agencies like the DMV. It's one that I always talk about when I talk about the inefficiency of government. You just imagine this. Folks go down to the DMV to follow the laws that the legislature has passed. The legislature has said in order to drive in this state, you have to have a driver's license. It has to be up to date. You have to have up-to-date tags on your car. Where do you get those things? From the DMV. So we passed the law. You try to follow the law. And in trying to follow the law, oftentimes we make you stand in line for hours. That's ridiculous. When was the last time you had to stand in line for an hour to get a package from Amazon? They bring it right to your door. folks. That should be our goal in government. Our goal in government should be to make sure those who are following the law are as pleased with our service as Amazon's customers are with their service. That should be our goal. Now, when you look at those 5 pillars, we got to take 2 of them out and give them special consideration. The number one, we got to look at education. Education in this state is in a bad spot, folks. We have a $33.1 billion budget in this state, the entire budget. And of that $33.1 billion, we spend 61% on public education. And statistically speaking, our children K through 12 can't read on a grade level. Folks, that is a failing grade. And it's a failing grade that does not go to our teachers. Our teachers aren't paid well. They aren't protected. Right. They aren't respected. We got a lot of changing about how we treat teachers in this state. We got to do a lot of changing. The very first thing that I want to do when we talk about teachers, we need to raise their doggone pay. We need to raise it. How do we raise it, you say? Well, you know all that money we're spending in education? When you take a look at it, you see a lot of that money going to a bunch of fat cat bureaucrats who've never been in the classroom and are not adding any value to the classroom. My plan is simple. Get rid of those bureaucrats, take those dollars, and give them to the teachers. Keep making those changes and keep making those changes. Get more and more efficient. And the very first thing we got to do is take care of our teachers, folks. Because I want you to understand something. When you go to a law firm and you walk in, who's making the money? The lawyers. When you go to the doctor's office, who's making the money? The doctors. Guess what? If it wasn't for teachers, wouldn't be no doctors and it wouldn't be no lawyers. Why are the teachers making such little money? And the bureaucrats making so much? We've got to change that, folks. We've also got to get back to classical education. We've got to get back to reading, writing, and mathematics. We've got to get back to civics. We've got to get back to history. We got to get our kids, we got to make our kids financially literate again. Start teaching them financial literacy. And we got to get our children career-minded and career-ready. And we got to give parents the right to choose their children's education. Guys, public safety, it goes without saying. My opponent is supposed to be the top cop in this state. But look at what he's done. Oh, he got the rape kids called up. Here's my question. You've been Attorney General for 8 years. How'd they get behind? They never should have. You let them get behind on your watch. Roy Cooper let them get behind on his. Let's get somebody else in there that can get them in there, get them kept up all the time. That's actually going to do their job. Because he's not doing his. And the proof is in the pudding, guys. Rapes are up 61%. Violent crime is up. Fentanyl deaths are through the roof. While this man is suing TikTok for getting kids hooked on social media, he's letting the drug dealers who are killing them with fentanyl slide on by the wayside. We need somebody in office who's going to stand up and reverse that, folks. We need somebody who's going to stand up and keep your children safe. Keep your grandchildren safe and your family safe. When I look out there and I look at your faces, I see people out there. I see some people who are grandchildren. Wow, that young man's a grandkid. I see people out there that are grandparents and great-grandparents and parents, young children, and family members. People out there that want to feel safe in their communities, guys. You need somebody who's going to do that. Somebody who's willing to stand up and do the tough things that it takes to make sure that law enforcement is proactive in fighting crime. You remember the days when we used to kick in the doors and drag the drug dealers out and grab their drugs and burn them up in a furnace and take the drug dealers and throw them in jail? Those days have been replaced now. Now the drug dealers are coming to your house, kicking in your doors and throwing the drugs inside your house. We got to reverse that. In order to do it, you need somebody that's willing to do the tough things. Yes, sir. We need to take a look at what's going on, folks, and realize that this election is about one word again: policies. Policies that work and policies that don't. And we need to take a real good snapshot of what's going on in the world and in our state. We have war, folks, on 4 fronts. We got a war in Israel. We got a war in Ukraine. We got a war on our southern border. And we got a war on our streets to protect our families and our children from the dangers that are pouring into our country over an open border. Now is not the time for us to be looking at people talking about, I don't like him, he's not nice. Oh, I don't like his tweets. tweets. His tweets are awful. Did you hear what he said? Oh, he's so mean. Whatever you think that I mean, anybody in here thinks I mean, I want you to think about something. Think about what the drug dealers that's out there selling that fentanyl out there, think about what they're saying tonight.
Exactly.
Think about what the human traffickers are saying. The ones that are stealing children and women and shipping them off to God knows where to have God knows what done to them. You think they're nice? No, they're not nice. Now is not the time for nice folks. Now is the time to vote for somebody who's going to get something done. Somebody's going to go in office and kick some ass and make sure we get done. Time for phony politicians with sticker book smiles that buy Carhartt boots to try to look like one of us is over. North Carolina needs somebody that understands what needs to get done in this state. And I'm not bragging on myself, but I do. And I know who I need to get done. And guess who that is? That's you. Because I'm not going to build this economy. I'm not. I'm not going to make these streets safe. I'm not going to build our great education system. I'm not going to build this great healthcare system or this infrastructure or this housing. Guess who is? It's going to be you. The only thing I need to do is do what I need to do, prescribe by our Constitution to give you what you need, then I need to get out of the way and let you do it. So God bless y'all so much. Get to the polls. When you get to the polls, vote for the policies that work, and you find them by finding the R's on your ballot. Stand for right. The right policies right now that will yield the right results and lead us in the right direction. God bless y'all. Thank y'all so much. Fantastic. Guys, thank y'all so much.